The Colossal Tussle podcast, episode number 47, and it is time for another great American bios. It is I, KJ Demeet Johnson, alongside just the Dragon John Boat. How am I doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I am okay. I am in we're doing a brand new thing.
A new format, man. They get to see our pretty faces now.
We get to see pretty faces. We get to see flags from countries I don't know in the background. A weird picture of Rick the Ramon. It's beautiful.
You know, I tried to decorate a little bit,
Absolutely, yeah. I see that you did some painting. It's good. Yes, it is the Colossal Tussle podcast. So welcome one and all. For any new listeners, what do we do here, Just John? Well, we are retro wrestling reviews.
Yep.
We do all sorts of wrestling pay-per-views, wrestling TV shows, all of that stuff from the bygone era, from the golden eras, the attitude eras, the ruthless aggression eras. And what we are currently doing, Just John, is traveling down the road of WCW in 1989. Ric Flair and Terry Funk. Officially, we are on that road, as we have just discussed the Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat rivalry, the trilogy of matches.
Yep. And if you do want to listen to that first part of this season, I guess we would call it, it is up on our Spotify and YouTube, where we talk about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Ric Flair. But now we're in the second part of that story with Terry Funk.
Yes, a new dawn and a new day, and we are here. Great American Bash 1989, the glory days. Glory days is what it's called. And here's the thing, before we even get into the review, when they say glory days, I understand that they're weaving in all of the NWA and all of JCP and Jim Crockett Promotions. But I do have to point out that WCW has just become a brand new thing. so there shouldn't be glory days.
Because even when when I was looking up the pay-per-views, like some sites would have it as WCW Great American Bash, some sites would have it as NWA Great American Bash. So they're still going through that transition phase.
Yeah, they're going through that breakup stage where they're in denial. They're in denial with Jim Crockett. But yes, so where did we last leave off? We left off at Wrestle War 89. Then we had a little bit of a stopgap in between, Just John, because a Clash of the Champions. We had a number one contenders kind of match where Ricky Steamboat and Terry Funk did battle. Now, Terry Funk would lose that match by disqualification. However, as we will get into the review later on tonight, Lex Luger, Flexi Lexi, your favorite.
my guy.
Yeah, he turned heel. He attacked Ricky Steamboat. He became the total package. He's the U.S. champion once again. We have a War Games match. All sorts of shit going down on this episode. So
yeah, no, this is a jam-packed episode, man.
Exactly. It's an episode of pay-per-view for WCW that was desperately needed because the last freaking show was so bad that they needed to redeem themselves. So let's get into it. All right, new format. But Just John, you know what it's time for.
Oh boy. Is it time?
It's time for the numbers. Some things will never change. Some things will never change. July 23rd, 1989, at the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, 12,500 people. A gigantic gap, a huge jump. All right, they are indeed packing them in. Beautiful stuff. But it is down from the 14,000 that they had from the previous Great American Bash, as is the buy rate, which was 1.5, translating into about 140,000 pay-per-view buys, which is down from the 190,000 of the previous year. That is not indicative of the show's quality, though, as we will review.
Yeah.
All right. So immediately as we get started, just John, did you see the first thing that we saw?
With the opening, right?
Presented in the most complete form possible due to technical difficulties.
I did see that. I did see that.
Oh no. Oh no. And it's like that throughout the entire night.
Yeah, I thought I had YouTube open just in case. I'm like, if this goes south, we might have to do the old fashioned way.
Yeah, I was expecting entire chunks of matches just to be gone.
But it wasn't it wasn't that bad. I think there was like some audio issues in certain matches, and I think like a couple seconds cut off of like some matches, but it wasn't that bad.
Exactly. When in doubt, we would just clip to Gordon Soley. Just smash cut to old Gord.
For no reason.
No reason at all. He doesn't have anybody with him. He's just there. Beautiful stuff. All right, first match was the Triple Crown Battle Royal. All of these people coming out with these very shitty dollar store crowns.
Yeah. This match was weird as fuck, man. Because the rules of it.
Yes, explain the rules. Explain the rules that we had for this match.
So it wasn't your traditional battle royal because they have the two rings. You had to first eliminate people to the other ring until you were the sole survivor. But then the people on the other ring have to eliminate each other until there's only one survivor in the second ring, and then the last two face each other, which is a normal battle royal, just way more complicated.
Yeah, and it wasn't even a 15-man or a 20-man. It was a 14-man battle royal.
They couldn't find one guy.
Honestly, Scott Hall, Steve Williams, Sid and Dan Spivey, Brian Pillman, Mike Rotunda. We got Kevin Sullivan, the Steiner brothers. So Scott Steiner is making his appearance on WCW for the first time.
Yep.
For us, Ranger Ross.
Your guy.
Yeah. And Ron Simmons, Eddie Gilbert, Terry Gordy, and Bill Irwin. And Teddy Long is standing in the darkness at the top of the ramp.
Yeah, and half of these guys have matches later on as well. So
honestly, yeah, they've double booked and triple booked these people. So you get thrown over into the second ring. Then you have a little battle royal there. If you're thrown out, then the final two in the two rings will face off against each other. That ends up being Dan Spivey and Sid Vicious,
who are
the two members
partners.
of the Skyscrapers. Yeah, the two members of the Skyscrapers. Because Steve Williams gets tripped up by Mike Rotunda, and then he gets hoofed over the top. And they decide that they're going to split the cash.
Yeah.
Teddy Long comes down. He says, "We're not going to fight."
Who needs an ending to a match when you could just split the money? Money.
Just abrupt endings. Just no, we're going to split it. We're out of here.
For a second, I thought like one of them was gonna like turn face and be like, "No, fuck it. Let's finish the match." And it's like, nope. It's just
25,000. That's enough for any man.
Jesus.
This was a terrible show opening.
Again, it's just the ending, because the match itself, even though it was complicated, I feel like there was a little bit of potential there. But then it's just that ending was just so anticlimactic.
Yeah, it just I don't know. And then they go to the backstage. Gordon Soley, right there on the stick, and he's like, that was a great old victory there for you guys. How do you feel about winning that one? And then the Skyscrapers are just like, we've won. We're great. We're doing well. And we're gonna be back out later. Thumbs up for all involved.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Match number 2 proceeds with Brian Pillman and Bill Irwin, two men that were just in the Battle Royal, right back out again, fresh as daisies.
Yeah, just go to the back, wipe off the sweat, and get right back out there.
Mhm.
This was your traditional heel face dynamic. Um, Flying Brian had the advantage for most of the match. Uh, Bill Irwin, he got some heel moves in here and there, but it was your standard match. It wasn't a bad match overall. Flying Brian, this was like, for me, he was like at his prime here, just fucking doing moves that at that time people weren't seeing from a guy his size, so it was cool to see, but not much there. Flying Brian wins at the end, but yeah, it was a decent little match.
Yeah, I mean the spot that got me was just the flying crossbody from the second ring
Yep.
into the first ring. It was good enough to get Brian Pillman over. That's really what the point of it was.
Yeah, but it
And
was more like a showcase match. Like, here's this new guy that
exactly.
we got. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's basically what they were doing with the Great Muda for the last couple of podcast episodes there. Only now
yep.
with Fly Brian. So there you go.
Just rinse and repeat,
Backstage.
rinse and repeat.
The backstage. Paul Dangerously hyping up the tuxedo match.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Paul Dangerously, Jim Cornette. The
Oh,
only way to win is to strip the other of their tuxedo, right down to the skivvies, right
that's
down to the
for
pantaloons.
all the women that say that the Attitude Era was sexist. We we
Oh
we
yeah,
also
no.
got our fair share of strip matches.
Go on back there to the golden age. The men are gonna show the women how it's done.
Show some skin.
That's right. And Paul Dangerously says that he's going after the knee. Paul
Yeah,
Heyman. He's going after Jim Cornette's blown out knee.
yeah,
Match
because this
number
is this
three.
is a very lighthearted stipulation, and Paulie's like, I'm a cripple him.
I'm gonna take out your leg. Put you on a fucking shelf. Match
Oh,
number three, the dynamic dudes and the skyscrapers.
yeah, and at the beginning of this, when the dynamic dudes are making their entrance, they just grab
I'm
a
s-
little. Go for it.
I'm so glad that you brought this up. Because this fucking fat child
Oh my.
gets plucked out of the audience like he had no intention. He has no idea what's going on.
He doesn't even look like
gets
he was a fan of that.
No. And then they try to throw a frisbee at him, and he catches it and then doesn't throw it back. He just wants to keep the frisbee, and
How do you
Shane
not-
Douglas orders him to throw the frisbee.
Oh my, that was such a disaster, man.
It's so awkward. So awkward and so
And then they like
lame.
pose with the child, and the child just seemed so confused and
Yeah,
disoriented.
the camera cuts away to the empty seats like anything is
Jeez.
better than this. This is so bad.
Oh my god, man.
And the match itself is pretty damn dull as dishwater as well, quite frankly. The only thing that was over in this match was Sid. Sid
Yeah.
Vicious.
Yep.
The amount of Sid chants every single time.
And they were the
tagged out.
heels, man. Fuck.
That's crazy how over he was in Baltimore. Like, we want Sid chants, huge chants whenever Sid did any moves whatsoever, and all he really did was like a chop and like a
Yep.
press slam, and that was it. A clothesline, he didn't take a single bump, and the crowd just ate it up. It was great. The skyscrapers come out on top in this one with no issues whatsoever from these dynamic dudes.
Yeah, no, it's a great day to be a skyscraper fan.
Yeah,
First they get 50K, and now
Yeah.
a win over the dynamic dudes.
There you go. There you go. Nothing wrong there at all. But they win with the power bomb. 1, 2, 3. They're having a great night. Backstage, once again, Gordon Soley The charismatic machine conducts an interview with Jim Cornette. Who,
He always sounds like someone like recently woke him up, like right before the interview. They're just like, "Yo, you gotta get up. You
yeah,
gotta."
yeah, like he's going over taking a nap in between, and they're just
Yep.
good showing out there. What's next? What's next is the tuxedo match. Paul E. Dangerously taking on Jim Cornette.
Yep. And this is sort of I would say like the climax of their feud, because they've
Mm,
been feuding since we started the whole Ric Flair, Terry Funk, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat storyline. So
yes.
this is a big one for the podcast, man.
It's been building up for ages.
You know,
This is
our
the
fans are
blowout match.
invested, man.
I mean, they are invested because they are really into Jim Cornette. They really hate Paul Heyman. This is obviously not meant to be a 5-star classic.
Hey, and the fans were loving it, man.
They
The
were. They
fans
were
were
very
loving
into
it.
it. They were very into it. Paulie Dangerously working over the leg the entire match.
Mhm.
Jim Cornette with the flashes of babyface fire, which sounds absolutely insane to say out loud. But be that as it may, Paulie, he misses an elbow drop. And then Jim Cornette is able to fight back a little bit.
Yep.
Paul E was using a lot of powder in this match, just John.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think at the beginning of the match, right before it started, he threw powder in Jim Cornette's face. That's how
Uh-huh.
he was able to get him down and then start working the knee and all that stuff.
That's right.
Um,
And then at the end of the match, we're
yeah.
going for another use of the powder, only for Jim Cornette to kick it right in the face, blinding old Paulie D, and then stripping him of the skivvies. He's got blue fruit of the loom, says Jim Ross.
Jim Ross was hilarious in this match because there was a moment where Paulie like throws a right hand. And Jim Ross is like, "That's a very feminine right hand." Like Jim
Oh,
Ross was loving this match, man.
Jim Ross is just a mean, mean man. Back then, took no shit from nobody. But there you go. We are talking Gary Hart hyping up the Great Muta taking on Sting for the
Mhm.
television championship. This match had me very, very excited. I was super, super invested. As soon as I heard it, I was like, ooh, fantastic. Exactly what we need. Because 1989 has not gotten off to the best of starts for us.
No.
So the undercard needed to bring it. But before we even get there, we had match number 5, which was the Texas Tornado match, in which the Varsity Club was taking on the Steiner Brothers.
Yeah, and I'm not sure because if you remember last podcast, weren't they like about to be suspended
Oh,
and
yes.
shit like that?
Oh, yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there, but they're back. And this match was legit batshit crazy because like I like a good tornado match, but this was just all over the place. Like immediately one half go down to the ringside area and they start brawling there. Another guy, the other two start brawling in the ring. There was a pinfall attempt, but we don't actually see the move that
No,
caused the pinfall attempt.
no.
Like it was very, very all over the place. The only good thing is that we got to see Scott Steiner. This is his first time in WCW, so
Seeing Scott Steiner in a pair of yellow tights has got to be the weirdest thing that I've ever seen in my entire life.
yeah, yeah. Sullivan picks up Rick for a power slam, but Scott comes off the top rope with a crossbody that knocks Rick on top of Kevin for the win. Not like the match was decent, but it was very, very chaotic and very much all over the place. If you like that type of chaotic type match, then this was for you. But if you like a little bit more structure with your tag team matches, maybe skipping this one is the is the best option.
Well, I love the fact that at the very end of the match, on the network at least, it was the crossbody off the top rope, double pinfall, and then it was like, the winners of the match, bloop, and it cut right to the backstage. Once again.
Yeah, no,
presented in the most detailed way possible due to
this show was
technical
full of
difficulties.
that, man. This show was full of that.
Match number 6 was the TV title match, Sting and the Great Muta. Uh, as I said before, incredibly excited. Sting hugely over at this point, and he's really hit his stride. He's been getting the big push since Clash of the Champions of the previous year with Ric Flair. He was following up tremendously here with great matches, and finally it was the undefeated Great Muta versus Sting, which has been holding an incredible win-loss record and is the current television champion.
Yep.
They had a fast-paced, high-energy, non-stop match, trading blows, trading chops, trading crossbodies, flying over the top rope multiple times, crossbodies over the top, springboards. Like, they brought the house down for this entire match. I was so invested because it was like a breath of fresh air after having like crappy DQ finishes on the last episode, a bunch of like stripping of the title and all of this crap. And it was just a bunch of madness. And then after this extraordinary match, after I was just on the cusp of being like, yes, this is fantastic. Finally, a match that's just going to be good, clean finish. Excellent 1989 fun. A back suplex by Sting. The shoulders are down for Muta. The one shoulder of Sting is very clearly off the mat. A 3 count is made. Muta gets the shoulder up at like 3.1. They call this a screwy finish, although Sting clearly, the match should have kept going. But Muta grabs the TV title, takes off with the TV title.
He just runs off, yeah.
And they just say, well, a lot of controversy here. And I'm just like, why must you confuse your fans?
And I feel like this was like their thing in the 80s, because even like the last like 2 or 3 episodes, we've had at least one match where it's like the same, like, oh, suplex, both shoulders are down. Like every fucking podcast we've had a ending like this. So it's annoying, man. It's annoying.
Just, I don't like the idea of confusing your audience at the end of a match. Like I've never.
I get you want to protect both guys, but goddamn, there has to be a better way.
There must be. Like, this is insane behavior.
Because Flair and Steamboat 2, I believe, ended like that, where it was like both shoulders were on the mat. Or come on, man.
I don't get it. Lex Luger has himself an interview where he's talking about he wants a regular match against Ricky Steamboat. He doesn't want the no DQ stipulation. The stipulation has got to be taken off. Regular match, or else I'm not defending the title. And we move on to that match. Match number 7, the U.S. title match. Ricky Steamboat, Lex Luger, the Total Package.
And this is one of Ricky Steamboat's most legendary entrances, where he comes out with the lizard.
The Komodo dragon, yes.
Was it an actual Komodo dragon?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I thought they cheaped out and got just like a regular.
Just got a lizard. No one will notice. Fucking
oh, man. But it's a nice change up from him bringing down Richie and fucking.
Oh, the family was there, just John.
Yeah, but they didn't like walk all the way down with it.
But the family was present. The family was present. He just also decided to upgrade to a Komodo dragon. I'm tired of my son. I'll take a dragon instead.
Holy shit.
Match number 7. Ricky Steamboat and Lex Luger. The no DQ stipulation was waived for that match. It became a regular match. boy, I wonder why. Because they have a great match.
Yeah.
Once again, I think as far as us, we can put to bed the idea that Lex Luger was not a good wrestler because the podcast and
Yeah.
all the times that he's been on our show, he's put on some pretty great matches.
Like I legit had him as my standout star like what like 4 times already.
Yeah,
Like he
many
showed
times.
up, man. He showed up.
Mhm. Yeah, and in this match was no different. They have a great back and forth match. This is one that you should go out of your way to go and see. Ricky
Mhm.
Steamboat makes Lex Luger look like $1,000,000, and the fans, they're still not totally ready to boo Lex Luger, so he's still getting quite a lot of cheers, even though he's like, turned heel at this point.
Yep.
Um, because even Jim Ross halfway through, he's like, "Oh, Lex Luger, he don't want to sign no autographs no more. Doesn't want to kiss no babies. Doesn't want to shake no hands. He makes fun of the people that are cheering him." And I'm like,
Your Jim
"Oh,
Ross impression is still 10 out of 10.
so he's just being Lex Luger, is what you're saying." But be that as it may, we get to the end of the match. It's a little contrived, but it's very funny. Lex Luger brings a chair into the ring. Ricky Steamboat gets him into the catapult position. Lex Luger holds on to the chair and catapults into the turnbuckle, smashes face. Ricky Steamboat with a
Yeah,
nice little bit of babyface fire
because
uses
as
the
he's
chair.
sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
Because as he's getting catapulted, he still won't let go of the
just
goddamn chair. It's
an
just
iron grip on the chair. Very contrived, but very funny.
yeah.
Ricky Steamboat unloads on him with the steel chair, just chasing him all the way up the ramp. It's a DQ finish because, of course, it is. They telegraph that. That's the only knock that I would kind of have for it is they very much telegraphed that it was going to be a DQ finish.
Yep.
But nonetheless, it was still a great match. And yeah, Ricky Steamboat, babyface fire.
Hey man, but I love to see it, man, because we criticized Ricky Steamboat, I think, on the last episode, that he just doesn't have that. He's kind of like very vanilla, like kind of very tame. So it was cool to just see him like just go out there and just start fucking going crazy with the chair and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah, so it was a very nice change of pace, very refreshing. The
Yeah.
feud is far from over. And then match number 8, a complete treat. I had no idea that this was taking place, especially at the Great American Bash. It's a War
Yeah.
Games.
War Games,
Yes,
man.
Freebirds and the Samoan SWAT team taking on the Road Warriors, the Midnight Express, and Dr. Death, Steve Williams.
I feel like maybe I missed a couple episodes in between the Ricky Steamboat feuds and this, because I have no idea where any of these relationships came from.
Well,
Like
the Midnight Express, the Samoan SWAT team, that's the Jim Cornette and Paulie Dangerously dynamic. The Freebirds, the Road Warriors, I don't know. And Steve Williams is just there for the beef. And it's a War Games match. It's kind of hard
yeah.
to call. It's kind of hard to go blow by blow with it because it is just kind of mayhem until
Yeah.
the final sequence.
The one thing about this match that you gotta, if you do want to rewatch it, is that the cage for some reason is low as hell.
It's very
Like
small.
I feel
Very
like
small.
they can like jump and touch the ceiling. I'm not sure if it's if that's what it was like in the 80s, but
Mm.
it was a very tiny fucking War Games cage.
It was tinier. It was smaller than usual for sure. Steve Williams was able to press slam Terry Gordy off the top of the cage like 8 times.
Like it was
Absurdly impressive.
impressive spot, but it just goes to show how short the cage was.
Yeah. And after everybody comes in, the final sequence, it was a good cage match. It was a good War Games, as War Games go. It wasn't on the boring side of it.
No, not at
It was
all.
actually quite entertaining.
Not at all.
The final sequence has Hawk come in, cleaning house. All 5 are in. It's a war. It's a mess. And then Hawk just grabs Jimmy Garvin and starts dropping him with neck breakers, trying to break his neck, just flat out trying to break his neck. Gets him into the hangman spot. in order for the baby faces to win. They get the match done. Hawk wins. But after the match, of course, the heels got to get their heat back. They lock everybody out. They
Yep.
keep Animal in, beat him down a little bit. The feuds must continue.
I love I forgot who it was, but there was one guy that tried climbing the cage
Yeah, Stan Lane,
to
yeah.
try to get in. Yeah, forgetting that there was a whole roof on the goddamn cage.
Uh, it was good stuff. And then we are on to the main event. It is main event time.
Yep.
As Ric Flair defends the world championship against old terrible Terry Funk. Ric Flair comes out. He's kissing women all the way down the aisle.
Oh yeah.
Got 4 women on the arm. Yeah. Just a little
I
touch
f-
of sexual
I,
assault before the match begins.
I just love that Ric Flair's version of being a baby face is like, instead of coming out with 20 women, I'm gonna come out with like 4. You know,
He's humble.
that's
He's humble.
he's so humble, man. Down to earth
Terry
guy.
Funk, absolutely, yeah. Terry Funk has got massive heat, as established at the Wrestle War when he turned heel and that amazing angle. So they have like an ugly match, but an ugly match in a very good way. That is a very positive form of ugly because it's down, dirty, brawl, just a fight. It's just a fight, and it's gross.
Mhm.
And
Oh
so
no, this was a straight up, just like, he brought the fight to Terry Funk, where it's like, okay, you wanna fight dirty, all right, let's go.
yeah, Terry Funk gets the branding iron. He ends up clacking Ric Flair over the head, busting him open. It was gross. Working
Mhm.
over the neck and the head, finally able to deliver the pile driver. It looks like it's over, but Ric Flair is like, no, no, no. He fights back. He ends up bloodying Terry Funk as well. Goes for the modified spinning toe hold. He gets the modified toe hold locked in. But Terry Funk doesn't give up, and instead he goes for the toe hold, the original toe hold. But the both men, they fight for the cradle. They fight for the cradle pin. And ultimately Ric Flair is able to get the victory and
Also,
solidify that he is still the champ.
no, and I gotta give you your props, because on the last episode you did say that Ric Flair hasn't, like, rarely wins championships with the figure 4, and again here he wins with a cradle. Like, that's like,
Never.
I've never noticed that before until you mentioned it.
Yeah. Go
Like,
back
even
through the archives. It
not
doesn't
even in
happen.
this match, when he puts in the figure 4, I'm like, okay, KJ was wrong. This is over. And then
Oh,
no, it's still going.
no, no. No, no, no. But there you go. So at the end of the match, the Great Muta comes down, mists Ric Flair right in the face. A brawl ensues until Sting makes makes the save, makes the big save. A massive brawl for like 6 minutes. They go through the crowd, they go up the entrance ramp, they're fighting by the announcers. It's a wild, wild brawl. It's a crazy end to a crazy show. What did you think about the main event, Just John?
I love the main event. Um, because usually in wrestling you see that there's like this blood feud going on, and then they finally get the match that they want. Pardon me. They finally get the match that they want, and they treat it as like a regular wrestling match, when it's supposed to
Mhm.
be a blood feud. But this one, like, as soon as the bell ring, they go after each other. They go into the stands. They go outside. They're fucking power drivers on concrete. Like, this felt like they actually didn't like each other. Ric Flair tried breaking Terry Funk's neck like twice. Like,
Mhm.
this is how you treat like an actual blood feud. Um, Ric Flair, I think Dex, Gary Hart, Great Muda comes out brawling. They're trying to interview Ric Flair on the top of the ramp. They're still going at it. Like, perfect way to show like, hey, these two guys really don't like each other, and just continuing the feud and stuff like that. So that it was cool. I loved it.
Indeed, indeed. And that was the Great American Bash 89. So a great freaking card. Like
Yep.
so needed. Like the first two matches are kind of just meh and whatever. But I
Hmm.
think from, the Texas Tornado match onward, you've got some great wrestling action there.
Yep.
And yeah, all of the seeds being set up for the next show, which is Clash of Champions, and then further still into Halloween Havoc, which is going to be our next review show. Halloween Havoc 1989, a Thunderdome cage match. I will say no more. Match of the night, standout star, and the overall show grade. Just John, what do you have for me?
Match of the night, I have Flair Funk. Perfect way to end the a pretty good pay-per-view, honestly. Perfect way to end it. Standout star, I have Ricky Steamboat. I love that he's taking that momentum from the Flair feud and working it with into this new feud that he's in. The crowd loves him, they're responding to him properly. He's showing that fire, that babyface fire. So gotta give him standout star. And then overall show grade is 4 out of 5. I really like this pay-per-view.
Very good. The match of the night for me is actually, honorable mention to the main event, but for me, it was Sting versus the Great Muta.
Fair.
I was so excited to see it. High pace action, just off the wall. 10 out of 10 for me. It was exactly what I wanted, exactly what I needed, and was finally showing me why 1989 was considered WCW's best in-ring year. Like, this is what I was waiting to see. As for my standout star, though, I have to give it to Terry Funk. It's still going to be Terry. Terry's character work, Terry's heel work, Terry's wrestling ability. Like, I didn't realize how jacked Terry actually is. I never thought Terry Funk was in shape, but he actually is quite good. So he's got the look, he's got the style, he's got the charisma. He's just like amazing. Terry Funk, fantastic. I can't wait to see more of him.
Mm-hmm.
And the overall show grade, I will absolutely agree with you, is a 4 out of 5. No doubt about it. Can't ask for very much more of a better show than that, except for the two first matches, as I mentioned, the confusing Battle Royal, the Little Brian Pillman match, which wasn't offensive, but also the ending to the Sting and Muta match, where there was that confusion that apparently holds up the TV title. It was just, those things just dinged it for me, but a 4 out of 5 nevertheless. I can't really complain too much.
Yeah, because even the matches that we kind of criticized a little bit, they were good matches. It's just the ending that kind of takes us out of it a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we are on to yet another show, Halloween Havoc 1989. But the Great American Bash is in the books. So thank you so much for joining us for this, the Colossal Tussle podcast, episode number 47. We are moving on down the road, and we'll continue very soon with the Terry Funk and Ric Flair rivalry and all of that good stuff. Live audio wrestling is where you're going to be seeing the Colossal Tussle and our wonderful faces from here forth and further hither. You can also listen to us on Spotify and listen on iHeartRadio, but catch us on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and the like. For Just John, I have been KJ Johnson, and until next time, we are out!